Hello and welcome to the March episode of Derby County Women in Focus. I'm Club Captain Hannah Ward. Firstly, we're going to be talking to Sarah Jackson about a busy month ahead and then catching up with Charlotte Steggles about reaching their national plate final. But first, let's take a look at the league. Sunday's 2-0 loss at home to Burnley was our first home league defeat of 2024. Our previous home game saw us register a 3-1 win over Huddersfield Town before we narrowly lost away to table-topper Newcastle United. Those results leave us 6th in the Northern Premier Division, having won 6 of our 14 games. Interestingly, we're one of only 2 teams in the division yet to register a draw yet this season. So that's how we've been getting on the league. Let's turn our attention now onto the Cup. Tom Lokes is catching up with Charlotte Steggles to talk about how we reached the FA Women's National Plate Final.
Steggs, thanks for speaking to us. Start off first of all by talking about the plate final that you've got yourselves into. How big an achievement is that for this group of players?
Yeah, I think obviously we've got quite a young squad, so getting to a cup final is always a great achievement, and it's going to be a great event and a great day for everyone involved. Obviously, it probably wasn't the start to the League Cup campaign that we wanted. We lost the first game, which meant we went into the plate, but it's something I think we're all relishing. We've had to play some very good teams, and it's not been an easy journey to the final. So I think we're all pleased to be there.
You mentioned that ideally you wouldn't want to be in the plate, but that's where you found yourselves, and is it pleasing that you've sort of embraced all the challenges that you've had to get this far?
Yeah, completely. I think, obviously, the first game when we did lose and then ended up in the plate, it's one of those things, and we've got to then embrace that and make sure that we came together as a group, and then our goal and end goal was to make sure we got to the final and hopefully win that. So, which obviously there's been a few tough games as well. We've travelled the length of the country to play in that. So, it's been, I think, great for the squad and great for the group as a whole.
The final's not for a little while yet, so is it pleasing that you've got something for the next couple of weeks and months to focus on in terms of you've got something to play for because places are up for grabs?
Yeah, I think completely. Obviously, our attention has now turned back to the league. We've got a focus. We know where we want to go and where we want to be with that, and where we want to finish at the end of the season. So I think sort of our attention has turned back to that, and we've all got to make sure we knuckle down. And then come sort of the couple of weeks before the final, I'm sure we'll all be just looking and wanting to make sure that we're in the starting 11 for that game.
Is that sort of a test of mentality then, that you need to make sure that you're fully focused on these league games? You've got a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. Yeah,
since Christmas, it's been quite a busy time for us all. And again, over the next few weeks, we've got a few midweek games coming in. So there's a lot to get through. So I think, we've got to make sure that we try not to get excited too early, and we focus on the games that are coming up.
So you're a bit of a cup final expert, as you told us. Well, those weren't your words, I must say. But you were in the League Cup final last year with Forest. You're in the plate final the year before that as well. So do you want to sort of impart your mentality on the group of getting to these finals and the experiences that you've gained from it?
Yeah, I think completely. The last couple of years being in those cup finals, they're always great days and great events. You get quite a lot of fans that come down to the game. It's usually in a sort of a nice ground and a nice location. So it's not something we always get week in, week out. So it's always a great day, and obviously the league always put on quite a bit of a show. So it's something different. Hopefully that I can be there around the girls just to encourage and hopefully go out and get that win and make history for Derby County.
How different is it then compared to your run-of-the-mill normal games compared to when you're going into a final? Because I would imagine there's a lot of thoughts going through your mind, a lot of emotion as well. How do you handle that as a player?
I think, every game we go into, we want to win. I think your mentality it has to change because it's a knockout game as well. It's whoever wins takes all, but like all cup games. So sometimes in league games, you might end up having to play out and you kind of holding on to a draw, so your mindset does have to change slightly. But I think as a group, we go into every game wanting to win. That's our game plan, and that's what we go out and set out to do. So I think, we'll obviously go into the final and hopefully go out and win.
You played lower league teams all the way through in the play. How pleased are you that every sort of banana skin that you've come up against, you've come through? And you've done it in the FA Cup as well. Yeah,
so I think some of the teams that we've played have really impressed, and they've all been very good. There was a couple, obviously, I think that the last round, we obviously went 1-0 down, so that was a test of our mentality to come back. And they were a very, very good team. So for us, we had to come back together and go again. So, I think our standards, we've made sure that we have to keep them throughout, but we don't knock any of the teams, them being in a league below. I think most of the teams we've played could easily play in our league and compete week in, week out.
How have you found that all the cup experiences this year? Because it feels like they've been really beneficial for you in terms of the league as well, because it's allowed you to gain a bit of momentum.
Yeah, I think sometimes playing in the National League, you can have a few weeks where you don't have games, or you can have breaks in the season. So for us, I think it's been really good having the FA Cup run and the Plate run, because it's meant that we have continued to play week in, week out, which has been really good for us as a group. And I think with a young squad, it's good because we've managed to get experience and lots of game time and lots of players in and around the squad.
You were rewarded for the FA Cup run by playing WSL team in Leicester. Obviously, that was a big step up. How did you find that, and what could you take away from that experience? Because overall, in terms of the performance as well, you must have been really pleased.
Yeah, I think from a squad as a whole, we really executed sort of Sam's game plan. We went out and we obviously didn't get the result that we wanted, but I think coming up against a full professional outfit and the sort of the players that they've got, it was a very pleasing and rewarding performance for us all. I think, to be honest, we all probably came off smiling after that game, even though we lost. But there was a lot we could take from that game, and I think it showed us that we can compete. And when sometimes in the season, I don't think we've always turned up to games, but it shows that when we turn up, we can be there to compete, and we've got to take that into each game we play from now to the end of the season.
And just on yourself, I think we spoke to you at the start of the season when you'd not long joined, and I remember the Forest away game was on the horizon as well. A couple of months on, how do you feel you've settled in, seen you around the place, and match days, it feels like you're fully integrated into the squad?
Yeah, I think it's almost it's a bit weird. It feels like I've always been here. I feel like I've really settled in with the group, and yeah, I'm really enjoying my football and enjoying being around. I think I'm starting to settle in now, and hopefully that's kind of shown in some of the performances over the last few weeks.
You've been, I think you knew a couple of girls when you came in. Did that help? Is that because it feels like there's a really good camaraderie, and you're at the sort of centre of that as well? Would that be fair to say?
Maybe, but yeah, no, I think I knew a couple of the girls before I came, and knew a lot of the girls from playing in and around them over the last few years. So I thought they helped me fit in completely, and yeah, it's just been really enjoyable. So I think that just helps everyone and enjoy themselves, and that then hopefully shows on the pitch.
You enjoyed building the relationship with Jacko at the back as well?
Yeah, Jacko might not say that, she might not agree, but no, I think it's been a really good partnership between me and Jacko. I think me, Jacko and Sam have all laughed a few times. I think we're quite chalk and cheese, but it seems to work. So yeah, no, it's been really good, and building relationships with some of the girls in the team, it's been quite nice.
We joked off camera, you've obviously been doing well. You've got a few Player of the Match awards after games. So just overall, in terms of your form, you must be pretty pleased. Yeah,
I think when I started, when I joined in the summer, the first couple of months, I don't think I was quite pleased with my performances. There was a few things that just weren't quite working. So it's been nice, I think, to settle in over, I think, probably post-Christmas. And yeah, it just seems that things start to be clicking now. So yeah, just enjoying the football. So that's always good.
You strike me as a bit of a leader on the pitch. Have you enjoyed sort of being one of the senior players in the group, because it's a really young squad?
Yeah, it is a really young team and a really young squad. So it's been good coming in, but I think that the girls are the ones that make it enjoyable. And to be honest, I just go out there and be me. So that's, yeah, but I've enjoyed it.
And how's the sort of camaraderie in the dressing room in terms of what's to come for the next couple of months? Because all we've talked about there's plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, completely. There's loads to look forward to. I think obviously in a couple of weeks we've got the game against Forest at Pride Park, so against another big event and something that we look forward to and enjoy. And we've got some big games coming up that we know we've got to perform for, and then obviously the cup final. So I think there's a lot that's there, and we've got to enjoy and embrace being in this sort of run up to the end of the season. And it obviously being a busy period, we're all here to play football, so I think everyone enjoys having sort of games back to back and enjoying that.
Charlotte Steggles there. Let's take a closer look at the results that got us to the National League Plate final. All the games have seen us play away from home. There were big wins in the early round against Doncaster Rover Bells, Northampton Town and Sutton Coldfield Town. And that 4-2 win in Devon against Exeter City sealed our place in the final, which is due to take place on Sunday the 21st of April. But before we get to that final, we've got some important games in the league, and you bet our next interviewee will be keeping things tight at the back.
Yeah, I think it's been a mixed season. Ups and downs, probably consistency's not really been there. But I think we've got through sort of the worst bit of it, managed to get a good run of form. I think it was just after Christmas. So yeah, I think pleased with it overall. I think it was a new team, new players. There's been some changes formation-wise and stuff. But yeah, no, pretty happy with it overall.
Do Do you feel that you've grown as a team as the season's gone on? Because you did have a really tricky start as well.
Yeah, the start wasn't great. There's no hiding from that. But yeah, I think massively as a team we've grown. I think we've gelled a lot more. I think we managed to get through sort of that rough patch sort of together, and from that we have come out more together and stuff. So yeah, I think there's positives to take from it. But yeah.
You did have a tricky set of fixtures though to start the season, didn't you? Because you had Wolves very early on, West Brom, Newcastle. So I guess when you looked at the fixtures when they came out, you thought this could not have been a tougher start for us.
Yeah, it was. I remember looking at it and it was hard, but the performances were there, and we just wasn't really getting the results. And I think that's always, it's where if the performances aren't there, then we're going to be worried. But no, the performance was there. We just had to keep believing in it and keep going. And yeah, we started to pick up from there, so it was good.
Where do you feel that the side's made the most sort of progress in the last couple of months? Because the results, as you mentioned there, have been more consistent.
Yeah, I think the girls have just carried on believing in how the staff set us up. There's a lot of belief in the squad. I think there's a lot of young players, and there's some players who haven't played in this league before in terms of like some of the loan players from the PGAs and stuff. So it was just sort of giving them time to adjust to it. Like I said, there's been injuries and people have left and new players come in, and it's been a bit of a crazy season in terms of that. But yeah, I think, like I say, just the girls believing in it. We believe in ourselves as a group, that on our day we can go out and get a result against anyone. So it's just sort of carry on believing that and just taking a step at a time.
In the performances that you mentioned there, when you played against the bigger sides, you've done really well, haven't you? You've been in all the games, you've competed really well.
Yeah, I think that's a massive positive. I think sometimes I get more worried going in if we're playing against someone who's lower down the league than higher up, because the girls we've got, the desire and the heart that they play with, it's second to none. And I think, you can't fault our performances against the top teams, and that's massive confidence boost for us going into other games.
How do you deal with the sort of change in, I guess, mentality really, that you come up against full-time teams or some that are hybrid as well, and then the next week you can be playing against a part-time team like yourselves where you're expected to win? It feels like there's no sort of middle ground. It's either one or the other.
Yeah, it is. It's, I think, going from like Newcastle, like you say, you were full-time, got a massive budget, got players from Championship, WSL, who they've brought in, and then obviously we go and play someone more like ourselves who training a couple of times a week and stuff, and the mindset is crazy. A lot of it's because your possession in terms of going and playing Newcastle compared to other games, so it's that just adapting to it. But like I say, the staff set us up each week. They've got a couple of sessions with us to get ready for the different teams, and we adapt well to it, I think. And
how beneficial have the cup runs been for you? Because it feels like, some seasons they can be a help or a hindrance, and it feels like they've been a big help this year. Yeah, it's been massive. I've really enjoyed this year. I think a lot of other teams play in the County Cup, which we don't get to play in Derbyshire. So if we go out early in the Cup, then I think last year we had about 6 weeks where we didn't have a game because everyone else was playing Cup games. So yeah, I think this season, going into the plate, which no one wants to go into, because obviously you want to go further in the other competition, but it's been massive, and I think it's also gave a chance for, like, as a squad, everyone to get minutes, and obviously we've seen some of the younger academy kids playing it as well, which has been good. You mentioned no one wants to go into the plate, but you've got a real chance now, and I know all the way through everyone's been saying that we've got a right chance of getting far in this. You're tantalisingly close now to getting your hands on some silverware. That must be a really big thought for the next couple of months and motivating factor for you all. Yeah, it's massive. I think it gives you that motivation, like you say, going in towards the end of the season. We know we're not going to win the league. We're not competing for it. So it sort of keeps that standards high, keeps the girls motivated a little bit. We've got something to aim for. But yeah, like I say, anyone wants to play in a final, and yeah, to get some silverware would be great. There's a lot of games coming up next couple of months. What sort of a realistic target do you feel for the rest of the season? It's just taking each game as it comes, really, and that's all we usually do. But it's trying to get as many points as possible and trying to sort of pull away from sort of that bottom half as much as we can. It's sort of like a mini league within the league. I think you've got the top four who need enough full time. I think pretty much all of them. I think one of them is like hybrid. So it's sort of, we know there's them four, and then can we go for that 5th place underneath them? That to us will be our first place. So yeah. Move on to yourself then. which I'm not sure if you're too keen on talking about yourself, but from a personal perspective, how do you feel your season's been?
Yeah, no, I've been pretty happy. There's always stuff that I could be doing better, but yeah, overall, I think I try and pride myself on being consistent week in, week out, so people know what they're going to get from me. And I think, yeah, overall, I think I've pretty much done that.
You're closing in on 100 appearances. What would that mean to you to achieve that with Derby? Because that's some number to be hitting. Yeah,
it's a proud moment really for me. I think, I didn't realise how close I was to it. But yeah, no, really proud. I think it's a great club. The girls here are great, and I've loved it since I've come. So yeah, so I'm really proud.
And this year's been another milestone for you, and you finally got your first goal for Derby. It's a hell of a strike as well. What do you feel looking back at it now?
Yeah, I watched it a few times when I scored, but yeah, I've not watched it back for a bit. But yeah, it was one of them. Space opened up and I just hit it. But yeah, I don't usually get past the halfway line. I have a go because staff don't let me go for corners or anything, so I don't have much chance in hitting it from 40 yards out. But yeah, I'll take that one.
I was going to say, do you feel that goals are something you can add to your game? But I suppose if you can't get over the halfway line, it's just take the opportunity when it comes up. So was that something that you were eager to sort of get out of the way, really, scoring a goal? Or are you just focusing on defending and being part of the team that way?
Yeah, I've never been bothered about getting the goal, to be honest. I think if it happens, it happens, but it's not what I'm there for, and it's not what the girls expect me to be there for. So yeah, as long as I'm doing my job, I'll let the others get the glory and get the goals.
So you're 27, but you mentioned off camera before that you're the third oldest in the squad. So how has your role within the group changed or evolved, really?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I think when I joined, I was one of the younger ones, and there was quite a lot of big characters. And through obviously changes within the club and everything, a lot have moved on, and yeah, I'm now somehow third oldest. But it's just sort of being there for the girls, sort of taking on that leadership thing if you're noticing things aren't right, or sort of the standards. There's a few of us who sort of try and help with that now. And yeah, just sort of trying to be a bit more of a leader and then relying on the other older ones that aren't there now.
Is it something that you've been happy to sort of embrace, really?
Yeah, I think it was a part of my game that I wanted to develop anyway. I think I've probably always sort of hid back a little bit, been a little bit quieter, even probably bit my tongue at times a little bit. But yeah, it's something that I'm enjoying, yeah.
Has that sort of come naturally then, that you've thought, right, I've got to do this now? Or has it been a case of the staff speaking to you and say, look, this is the sort of age profile of the squad, this is your time to step up, really?
One of the coaches put together a leadership group, so there's 4 of us within that. So yeah, we sort of got led into it a little bit that we might need that this season. But it's something that starts to just become natural with it. I think especially as you get older, you mature a bit, just a little bit. But yeah, it's something that I think now it's just part of the role, really.
And in terms of the younger players, how well do you feel that they've all done? Because I guess at times it's a big thing going into sort of senior women's football. Yeah,
I think they've adapted really well. I think it's took some a little bit of time, and they just need, we all believe in them, what everyone's doing in training week in, week out, and we just want them to show that on the pitch on a weekend. But yeah, I think we've saw some of the academy ones as well, and I think that's the thing with this club. There's a lot of Derby girls as well. So I coached the under 18s, and yeah, the kids coming through, and there's been 4 or 5 of the academy kids as well, which is great to see. So yeah, it's been enjoyable to watch that.
How many of the girls that you've been working with have been in the first team this season then?
So about 3, I think it's been about 3 of them. Yeah, which is a bit weird when you're coaching them and then playing with them.
Yeah, how do you find that? Is that strange, or are you that much in game mode that you're not thinking about, oh, I'm coaching her? Yeah,
you think you just switch off to it. And they'll probably say I'm going on at them when I'm coaching them anyway. So, but yeah, no, it's great to have them, and great for them to get the opportunity and stuff, because that's what it's about, and they need that exposure, because that's the only way they're going to get better. So yeah, it's good.
From a coach's perspective then, when you've seen them playing at 18s level to stepping into senior women's football, how big do you feel the jump is?
Yeah, it's massive, and there's no hiding that in terms of that sort of open age in terms of the physicality, the tactical side to it. They probably get away with some stuff at 18s that you don't at our level. And like I say, coming into our level now, I say there's full-time teams, there's people who've got WSL experience, international players, so the jump's got even bigger, and I think it will carry on getting bigger, but that's our job to try and keep developing them and give them opportunities so they're ready when the time comes.
How much are you enjoying the coaching then as well?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot aside alongside playing, but yeah, no, I do enjoy it, yeah.
Sarah Jackson there. We find ourselves on home turf for 4 out of the next 5 fixtures. It's Halifax Town at home this weekend before a midweek fixture away at Stoke the following week. The East Midlands derby against Nottingham Forest is coming up at the end of the month and will once again take place at Pride Park Stadium. Make sure you get down there to cheer us on. That's all for this edition of Derby County Women in Focus. Thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.